Today what we're doing is we're shooting Mitchell and Daisy going crazy on the train. What we wanted to do this series was take Mitchell's journey into the sort of dark side, if you like, a little bit further than we did in Series 1. So this is probably the darkest point he reaches. Essentially we've got 12 extras who are commuters on a train, and Mitchell has obviously just discovered the identity of Lucy as Professor Jagger and has gone pretty crazy and has recruited Daisy to go and kill a trainload of people.
We've never seen Mitchell go so crazy for the bloods than we do kind of when he's wrecking the train, and I think even on the way I think he's knocking off randomers and there's all sorts of stuff. He just immediately, I think it's very simple with Mitchell, he has this switch. It's been off for so long and he's been trying not to flick it back on, but I think as soon as it happens so easily, I think once you make that turn, I think you can go back into it in a hot second, and it's what he does, and Daisy completely goes along with it because she's been used to it for years.
And Daisy just wants revenge, basically, and she's willing to kill anybody in her path, and that's what they do when they get to the train carriage, and it's just a bloodbath, and they just appear in this train carriage and cause havoc.
It's like anybody suffering with any kind of drug or alcohol or any kind of addiction. I mean, you know, I don't think those first steps back on the wagon aren't tentative. They're usually full on, and that's what he does, and he knows that that's what he's getting into, and he does it, and he does it well.
I mean, the train carriage, we were very lucky with Great Western allowing us to use what is a training carriage. So it's on a siding, it's used for training purposes. Trains are notoriously difficult to film on. Trains, planes, airports, stations, hospitals, they're all very difficult locations to go into and use the real thing. So by finding this carriage, and they'd done a lot of their drills in smoke, so it was fairly tatty interior, so they weren't too precious about it. If we'd been using a more precious interior, we would have had to have provided our own upholstery, we would have had to have covered all the interior surfaces with vinyl. It would have been a very expensive and very time-consuming exercise to put a second skin, really, inside the carriage that we could then coat with blood. So we were very lucky to find a space that we could use where we had so much freedom. It is the defining moment for Mitchell, so it did want to be horrific.
The radio announcer's voice gets sort of cut off in quite an eerie way. The carriage goes black. Hopefully going to get the train moving in the next 5.
At the moment we're actually just about to shoot the train clean, so for the establisher of the commuters on the train. But later on today we should be hosing down the train with lots of gruesome red blood. We'll be getting those bodies in, and we'll all be donning Socko suits, so it'll be like CSI in there, and we shall be filming all the blood and gore. Our makeup designer has been busy imagining all sorts of gruesome deaths for people, which we'll see, which include things like an iPod shoved in somebody's mouth, a newspaper down somebody's throat, several throats being ripped out, limbs being savaged, huge amounts of blood.
Yeah, they looked absolutely grotesque. It was horrid, and there was blood splattered everywhere, and I think Marcus, makeup, he'd like cut a Heat magazine in half or something and piped it down somebody's throat. When
Mitchell and Daisy went on the rampage and decided they'd kill a whole train carriage full of people, when I first read that in the script, I was like, wow, we're going to have fun in here, and we certainly did. It was wonderful. We sat down at the production meeting and had a chat with the director, and we said, so what injuries do you want? And he's like, oh, let's go to town. He said, we want gashes and cuts. And I said, well, let's use some props as well, you know? So we decided to, one of the ladies, she had a magazine shoved down her throat. Another guy, he had his iPod shoved down his throat. We had a guy with his intestines hanging out. We had newspapers, there was blood everywhere. I've never seen so much blood. We had it up the walls of the carriage. The design department really went to town. The makeup room was just full of makeup artists. We all had our blood kits out, and every time supporting artists would go out bloody, a new one would come in clean, and we would just absolutely cover them and cake them with blood. And the reaction from some of the crew was fantastic when they all went down on set. It was like, oh, this is a bit too much, just a little bit sick, but it was great. It was really good fun to do.
I want you, it's very slippy.
Like that.
Cool.
And we'll just have all the blood coming down from you. Yeah?
Check out the carnage over here. Do you want to get a little closer with some of these scars? Check this out. Check this out. Look at that. Oh, it's looking good. We just shot the bit where I walk on, and me and Daisy walk on and scared the bejesus out of them, and this is what we're left with, and I don't think we're in the next shot, so I brought my camera down to take pictures. This is what being human is about. This is what it's about right here. More of this, please. It's cool. I brought my camera that day. My new little toy. Shooting on the train was brilliant. It was like the catacombs. It was like all those locations where you show up, and I remember stepping onto the train and it was full of these bodies and full of the blood, and immediately you don't have to, you just turn that little acting muscle off in the back of your head. You don't need to do, you're just looking at it, just the shock factor, and it just brings you there. I mean, doing scenes subsequently after that, any scenes that involved going to the facility and any of these kind of scenes where you have to sort of stay in crazy Mitchell mode, it was good to have that vision of what we had done before shooting those scenes, because it's, I don't know, it was great just to see all that blood and what these guys would have seen. Was kind of cool, you know, all that carnage was great, and the costume and makeup department did an amazing job. I mean, it was just covered in blood. It was brilliant. I have some amazing photographs.
Cut. Thank you very much.